I was playing Overwatch on PS4, and I'm not good with a controller. I've always played mouse and keyboard. So there was this like, I wanted to be better than I could be with a controller. So that's when I got a PC and I started playing, and that got that itch back. And then Valorant came out, and I sunk even deeper into the gaming world, and I still play Valorant today.
So obviously there was the collaboration you did with Riot Games to create the skin and some music also associated with the game. How did you find that experience? Did you like it sort of doing something a little bit different than sort of your normal day-to-day life? Or how was that working with Riot to create those skins?
Yeah, it was super fun working with Riot on those skins, mainly because I feel like I was borderline burned out. I was working on my album. We had a whole pandemic. There was just a lot of things going on that made me not inspired to do what I typically do, especially not being able to go to clubs and stuff like that as much. And working on the skin line and the sound design and the whole psychology that goes into how you feel when you use a certain skin and why you like one better than another. I really dove really deep into that. And it was super fun. I learned so much doing that. And now I still play the game and I have my own skin in the game.
You mentioned that you learned some things from doing the research for the skins. What were a couple standout or particularly interesting things that you learned in that process?
So I had a really specific idea of what I wanted to do with my skin in terms of sound design, because I've been playing the game since the alpha, and certain skins I like better than others. And I know all my friends prefer certain over others. And I was like, well, it's probably not the look because they're somewhat comparable, but I felt like the sound has one of the biggest impacts on how you feel about a skin. So I really wanted my skin to be sound driven instead of it being based on a particular look. And I think all our first ideas came from sound and not from like what we were going to make it look like. So I had a very particular idea of what I wanted the sound to feel like, but then Riot was really good at keeping the competitive integrity and to make sure that nothing about my skin is objectively better, but just the subjective way how you feel about it. And then was the big question, how do I push my skin to feel different without it being technically better? And just exploring that realm of what can you do, how can you get creative with, I mean, these are random things, but random gunshot. Instead of that, I used as a bass layer, it was a snare drum and a kick drum together, something that I use in my world a lot. And it gives you similar punch as like a shot would, but that was the bass layer and I built on that. And just experimenting, I've never had to do that. I never had to reimagine what like a laser kind of futuristic sci-fi shot of a gun that I've been using in this game for so long would feel like or sound like. So there's a lot I learned in experimenting in there.
Do you go through a similar process in general when you're creating new songs?
I think it depends on the kind of song I'm working on. Some songs tend to be more sound design driven where, that little bit of a difference is within the sound. And sometimes that difference, which is probably more the case with my music, is within a chord. Like I really like to make music accessible. I see music like a language, and you can make it overly complicated and then it becomes a language for people who speak the language really well, or it can be a language that more people can understand, and you can build in little things like a specific chord that is out of the ordinary that musicians or people like that will be like, ooh, I know what he did there, but it doesn't like shock other people to the point where they don't get it. That's kind of how I approach my music more than the sound design level. But for sure, every song at a certain stage during the production will require you to think what's going to make your song stand out from the other billions of songs.